right, now we've had the inspection done, you're going to receive the inspection report from the inspector. Here are just a few things to keep in mind. Number one, the inspector is a generalist. Just like a doctor, there are general practitioners and there are specialists. If we need to call in a specialist to give an inspection on a specific thing, we will do that. The inspector is going to give you a general list and a general overall view of the health and the condition of the home. Okay? Keep in mind, no home is perfect. The inspector's home is not perfect. A brand new home is not perfect. Older homes may not be up to code. They're not necessarily expected to be brought up to code. You can't keep everything up to code all the time, or we'd always be renovating and fixing things constantly. You can always, of course, call the inspector when it comes down to it. If you have questions about that, and we actually encourage that, we'll call the inspector together, or you can call them separately to find out exactly what the inspector meant. Now, keep in mind, of course, that we will guide you through this. We're going to temper expectations. You don't need to try to figure out everything on your own. I encourage you to ask a lot of questions. Ask questions of the inspector, ask questions of me. And again, we can get a specialist to evaluate things further. Now, what do we want to ask for to have repaired? We need to consider a lot of things like the market conditions. Under no circumstances is a seller likely to fix everything. Okay. What did we learn from the inspection that we didn't know when we contracted to buy the home? Those would be some things that we might want to bring up. So you walk through a home, you see it, it's in a certain condition, but the inspection reveals new things. Those would be the things that we'd want to focus on. Things that we're already known. We may not necessarily be in a position to bring those things up. Keep in mind what's most important for you. What are your biggest goals? Obviously, saving money, having a sound home to buy, those would probably be chief among those things, but we want to make sure that we understand what's most important to you. And now that the inspection has been completed, how do you feel about the price and the terms of the contract? Ultimately, these considerations will help us to really evaluate the inspection for what it is and what we need to take to the seller to potentially ask them to repair it.